Welcome to Extra Points. I'm Al Lorenzen, joined by Mark Hansen this week. Mark, we're without Casey Shelton yet again.
We're getting used to it, I must say.
Yeah, you'd think a guy'd get enough plastic surgery and at some point he's going to look presentable.
Well, the varicose veins, it's a very serious operation.
As you pointed out last week. We're joined by Jerry Crawford this week. Jerry, we appreciate you coming on, and we'll get to you more in depth in a moment, but it's good to have you on.
Thank you very much.
There's a lot going on this time of year, and we were talking.
There is?
There is. When you look at baseball pennant races,
okay.
You look at NBA playoffs, and I'm not an NBA guy, but I watched Golden State last night because number 40 was playing for them. Now, they didn't fare too well last night, but you watch basketball, and we've had some things happen away from the sporting fields. And I know in your extra point you're going to touch on Ewayne Cooley a little bit, but Mark, you covered a lot of sports in this state, but talk a little bit about Ewayne. And I refer to him as the Bill Veeck of high school girls sports. Your take on him and his legacy?
That's a very apt description because he was an innovator. But I think, in some ways he went a little farther socially than Bill Veeck ever had a chance to in what he did to promote women's athletics. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that in the extra point. But he's really, when you think about it, one of the most important figures in the history of Iowa sports.
No question. No question. Any of us that ever had the privilege of watching a 6-on-6 basketball game or seeing people sweep the court at the girls' state tournament in tuxedos and all the other things that he did to champion the cause of women's sports before it was really the PC or the norm across the country. We have a debt of gratitude to pay to Ewayne Cooley. Mark will get to that a little bit more in the extra points. Right now we've got some bills to pay. Come back as we jump into the world of sports here in Iowa and beyond with Jerry Crawford. Stay tuned.
The arena football season is underway, and Mediacom will once again bring you the fast-paced, hard-hitting action of Iowa Barnstormers football. Second-year AFL Hall of Fame coach Mike Hohensee has assembled a championship-caliber team, including the return of fan favorites defensive back Jason Simpson and quarterback J.J. Rettering. Catch all the live action of Barnstormer football home games only on MC22.
Are you tired of losing the lives and productivity of your employees and their families to diabetes, cancer, heart attack, and stroke? Not to mention the destruction that these and other chronic diseases cause. In an effort to help, we are proud to introduce the newest member of the Holmes Murphy family, Dr. Mike Abelasili. Dr. Mike is Family Physician of the Year in 2010 and has a passionate and proven track record for saving lives and preventing disease.
If you truly want your employees and their families to have better lives, you need to call Holmes Murphy.
That's magic. This is not. No magic can help you get in shape, and it won't happen overnight. You need a plan, commitment, and more often than not, you will need help. That's what the Y does best. They have the finest facilities and equipment and a professional staff trained to help you succeed. If you and your family are serious about living an active, healthier lifestyle, why wait? Join the Y today and let tomorrow be the start of a healthier you.
Welcome back to Extra Points. This week's Journey to Mediocrity, brought to you by Mark Hansen and Al Lorenzen. And we're fortunate to have Jerry Crawford joining us this week.
Am I the guest because it's a journey to mediocrity?
No, you're the guest to try to drag us up out of the way we're mired in mediocrity. So we appreciate you having on, and we appreciate you being on with us. I really have to jump into your role with the Iowa Energy, and obviously we've got hockey coming to town, and you have a grasp on that like the rest of us only wish we did. How's that going to impact things? Will it work? How does that impact the Iowa Energy? Where do we start?
Yeah, where do we start? I mean, it's a very long story, including the fact that I'm the person who tried to bring hockey to town back in 2003, ironically, with the Minnesota Wild. Yep. What we did was we put together a joint venture where we were going to own and manage an AHL hockey team, the Wild's AHL hockey team, and we were going to manage Wells Fargo Arena. Mm-hmm. And we had done extensive community research, and we had determined that AHL hockey would lose about $1.5 million a year in this community, but that the profitability from managing the arena would significantly offset that, and it was a very reasonable commercial venture if you combine the two. The Polk County Board of Supervisors then hired a lawyer from Houston, Texas, who told them that we were nuts.
He's not the first person that said that about you, though, JP, really.
Well, he's in the long list of people who are wrong when they say it. He said that we were nuts, and that as a matter of fact, hockey could survive on its own and do very, very well here. And you should have two different entities, a specialist at building management, who just happened to be his good friend Global Spectrum, as it turned out, and you could be successful running a hockey team. So what happened is exactly what we told them would happen, which is that the hockey team promptly went bankrupt.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind, that's when the hockey team had absolutely everything going for it, right? It was a brand new building.
Right.
It was the first time we had tried AHL hockey in Des Moines. There was no Iowa Energy basketball team. There was no Barnstormers football team. So you have a wide open, exciting canvas to play on, and they failed, right? And then they come back with a second iteration, and it fails too, and leaves a wake of unpaid bills behind it. So from that point to this, we have a situation where the Wild are leaving Houston, where they drew 7,000 people a night, at an average ticket price at $25. And if you ask me, they're going to have trouble drawing 1,700 a night at that price point, but they could do some residual damage to the other existing tenants, the Energy, the Barnstormers, at the same time.
Sure.
Well, you had a pretty good season ticket-wise, as I recall. You were about 45, 46.
Yeah, we've set almost every attendance record in the NBA D League, and our attendance has gone up every single year. And by the way, it'll go up this coming year too. We've got a phenomenal staff, and we've got a tremendous hardcore group of fans that have been supportive of us.
How important is the local ownership, the local management angle? I mean, we've had the Iowa Cubs were owned by someone who lived out of town. And as soon as Granquist got it, he turned it all around because he was here. Ray Johnson wasn't here that much. I mean, how important is that?
Well, I think it's very important. I always refer to the Iowa Cubs as the gold standard. And Michael Gartner and his team have done, Sam Burnaby, they've done an amazing job. There's nothing to compare to it.
Right.
And their franchise value, I mean, I've heard people say their franchise is now worth $18 or $20 million, right?
Wow.
And the city has done the right thing. The city has recognized how important that is for the community. And they, for, 20 years, they paid $1,000 a year for rent to the facility, and they kept all the sponsorship revenue and all the ticket revenue and all the concession revenue.
How would you like to have that?
We'd take it. I think now their rent's up to $22,000 a year, which we would pay in about 5 games. Without any concession revenue, without any significant parking revenue. Exactly. The other thing that's interesting to me from a policy standpoint that I wish the Board of Supervisors had focused on, the county made more money after hockey left and we were operating in the Barnstorm than they ever made when they had hockey here. So what are they doing exactly? I mean, here's what could happen. You could end up with a situation where the basketball team and the football team say, why do we keep banging our head into this? Well, we only did this to try and do something for the community. We didn't do this to try and make any money. We're not making any money. We're not losing any either. But we did this as a community benefit, and now they bring in hockey for a third try. Why? Why should we keep battling this? And so what you could have happen at the end of this 5-year hockey lease is they say, this is a lousy hockey market. That's a big surprise. And we're leaving, but by then there's no basketball and no football, and then there's nothing in the building. I think the county should have taken a step back and done what the city has done in terms of making sure they have community attractions.
Well, yeah, I mean, part of the question that all of us are asking is why? When my time at the Sports Commission working closely with Global Spectrum, they were the first to say, hey, with the other events that we can bring in, losing hockey is no big deal. We're going to make more money. And that, as you stated, so why the attraction? Why do we keep going back to this?
Just look at the calendar in the first third of the year. You've got the Iowa Energy, you've got the girls and boys high school basketball tournaments, you've got the boys wrestling tournament, now you've got hockey. Suppose 2 or 3 really high profile concerts want to come to town. When the heck are they going to come?
And we're
going to do it. And that's more profitable than anything else.
What did you see, though, when you were interested in that? What got you What attracted you to this situation?
To which?
To the hockey team.
Running the building.
Yeah.
Having a first-class partner, and by the way, and I want to make this absolutely clear, the Minnesota Wild, terrific organization, and I didn't know much about hockey back in 2003, but I traveled all over the country watching it. The AHL is a great hockey product. But you have to have hockey fans
Amen.
To make a success. And look, I went to college at McAllister up in St. Paul, Minnesota. I was flabbergasted. All anybody ever talked about was high school hockey. There was no talk about the high school basketball tournament or the high school football. It was a hockey thing. And to have such a difference in attitude, 240 miles apart, it's hard to imagine.
Well, but it's the reality of it.
It is.
We've got to pay some bills. We hope you can hang around for another segment. Stay tuned for more Extra Points right after this.
People like to see a return on their investment. Is it time for you to make an investment in your health? The YMCA has great locations, facilities, equipment, and a staff dedicated and trained to help you succeed. And it's affordable to all. The Y offers boot camp classes, a pool, wellness coaches, complimentary child watch, and so much more. If you and your family are serious about living an active, healthier lifestyle, why wait? Join the Y today and let tomorrow be the start of a healthier you.
Overwhelmed? Frustrated? Not sure what to do with your garage? Let the professional design team at Minnesota Cabinets be your garage organization solution. Floors, cabinetry, slapboard walls, and other accessories, all custom designed to maximize your space and be easy on your budget. Let Minnesota Cabinets, your trusted solution for kitchen cabinets, bring some peace of mind to your garage too. Wait till your neighbors see this. Minnesota Cabinets, home and garage on 100th Street in Urbandale.
Welcome back to Extra Points. We're visiting this week with Jerry Crawford, managing partner, owner of the Iowa Energy. You've got racehorse interests. You've got all kinds of other things. And we'd be remiss after the Derby week and everything leading up to that and the success that you've had in recent years in the horse game if we didn't talk to you a little bit about that and what drew you to it. I mean, you obviously have a passion for sports, but you got a day job too. Tell me about how you're able to do so many things and do them so well.
Well, long story short, I grew up on a farm next door to my paternal grandparents, and my paternal grandfather loved horses of any kind, involved in any activity, not just racehorses. In fact, we spent more time going to the rodeo than we did going to watch racehorses. But I just grew up with that, with the love of the horse. And I have to be careful because I can kind of carry on a little when I start talking. I mean, I'm just back from several weeks in Kentucky where every single morning I went out and spent time with the 4 new Patio Prado foals that have been born in the last 2 months.
Wow.
And that's my happy place.
Will you be
when
back
I
at the Derby with one of those too?
I certainly hope so. That would be very exciting. It's special when you have homebreds who are successful. We have one of the top 5 older turf horses in the country right now that I bred. And there's something about being there on day one that makes it even more special. The thing I would say about the Derby this year, we've had the great blessing of finishing third 2 of the 3 previous years with Patio Prado and Dullahan. This is the first time in 20 years, and I'm talking before the Derby, and I've said this to some of your colleagues in other media outlets. Before the Derby, I said, this is the first time in 20 years I felt like there's a horse that has the potential to win the Triple Crown, and I said that horse was Orb. He has been managed so well in terms of not being overused prior to the Kentucky Derby.
Right.
He won the Kentucky Derby easily. He's really on his toes this week in terms of the workout that he had. I think it's going to take something very surprising to beat him. And by the way, a Triple Crown winner would be sensational for the business.
It's great for the sport.
Yeah.
I got to go one more step with you. I run a place that works with at-risk kids that uses horses and the equine assisted therapy, equine assisted learning. I'm not a horse guy.
Yeah.
They won't even let me on a Percheron, but the reality is seeing